Hi, this is Mrs. Girot, and I just wanted to introduce you to Project 3 creating. So I want you to choose from a range of materials and methods of traditional and contemporary artistic practices to plan your work of art or design. I want you to demonstrate an acquisition of skills and knowledge in this art form through experimentation, practice, and persistence. And you are going to be documenting your process of developing your ideas from the early stages to your fully elaborated ideas. So get a notepad and take notes. All right. The objectives. 1, I can choose 2 options from a list of several possible photography techniques I'd like to spend the next week practicing and mastering. 2, I can engage in self-directed learning. 3, I can plan my photo shoots. I can decide which 2 techniques I'm going to use and master. I need to decide what the mood or message is that I want to convey. I'm going to have to decide what the subject of my photography is going to be, what time of day I'll shoot it in, indoors, outdoors, what setting, to help to convey that mood and message and maximize the technique. And I also need to be thinking about what post-editing techniques I'll need to do in GIMP to make this a finished product that is ready to present for the critique in class. So once again, you're going to pick 2 options to master. Here are a list of 4 options. How many are you going to pick? 2. Option number 1 is Bokeh photography. Option number 2, Cotton Candy Waterfalls. Option number 3, action or sports shots. Option number 4, tricks. And there are seriously an infinite number of tricks that you can do. You can do smartphone tricks. You can do fanciful tricks with your camera. You can do GIMP photo editing tricks. Okay, so I want to show you what bokeh or bokeh photography is. You can pronounce it either way. I have a tendency to say bokeh, but then today I was like, oh, it comes from the Japanese word that is B-O-K-E, and I looked it up, and it's actually pronounced like bokeh. Bokeh. I think I actually have the video here still saved. Let me play it for you.
Bokeh.
Bokeh. Okay. So here we are. We have a lovely bokeh picture, and look at how soft the lights are in the background and how sharp the figure in the foreground is. By the way, it would be nice if you have your camera set to have the date and stuff in the corner. If you could go into your settings and take that out, that would be nice. And here's another lovely bokeh picture. We've got our subject in the foreground is beautiful and sharp, and then the background is just blurry. It's gorgeous. It helps to emphasize our subject. This one is lovely. Look at the detail and the texture of that cat versus the softness in the background. Another excellent example. This, however, not bokeh. Why? Because, yeah, I see a little bit of blurring happening here, but that's just because the camera is too close and it can't really capture that. But as you can see, the grass is sharp, the tree is sharp, even the fence line is pretty sharp, and the tiles on the roof. We're getting a pretty good depth of field here. We're getting sharpness through the foreground, midground, and background, and that is not bokeh. This is bokeh. Look at that beautiful sharp dog. You can see all the texture of his fur is just gorgeous, contrasted against that soft background. That is gorgeous. This is not bokeh. Like, seriously, I can see the crispness and the sharpness of the leaves, and I can even see the texture of this drape back here. Everything is sharp in here. The only little bit of blurring is because, once again, this little edge right here is just a little too close to the camera. This, I would not consider bokeh. I mean, I can clearly see this trash can right here, okay? That drives me nuts. I don't want to see a trash can in your picture, all right? You need to crop that out. Okay, this perhaps could have been cropped, I think, like if we'd cut out the fence line and just, if we had cropped it over here a little bit more, it might have, with this kind of hazy texture on the pavement, looked a little more bokeh-ish, but the fact that I can see like every single detail of the leaves and the flowers and even this pile of twigs in the back, not bokeh. Bokeh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. What's the difference? Well, this is all blurry and it's not detracting from this subject. This subject is nice and sharp, and she is contrasted against this background, which is blurry enough that it's not a distraction, but it also has enough detail that it gives us some context. We can see that she's outside at some kind of a street fair, but we can't really see enough detail to really focus. Not bokeh, okay? If I can see the black Christmas light lines like that, not bokeh. If I can see the lines on the wall, not bokeh. Great concept, but what did this student do? They are too close to the lights. They need to be on the other side of the room from those lights so that that background is blurred, okay? And then you've got to open up your aperture as wide as you can. So, yeah. Bokeh. Yes, bokeh. Beautiful, soft lights. I mean, I can barely see the lines back there. It's true, I can kind of see them. But overall, it's just a hazy, beautiful background. And this subject is so sharply contrasted because of all the detail. Not bokeh. Look it. I can see every detail. I can see all these lines. I can even see all of the details back here. Not bokeh. Bokeh, yeah, look at that. It's all hazy and blurry and fuzzy. Love it. Cool. Okay, another one of the options is sports or action. All right, and when we say sports and action, we mean want to capture the shot that is in like the most intense moment of action, the climax of the moment. Okay, so this is a perfect example of that. This I would not call sports action. Okay, maybe there's something happening over there. I don't know. It just looks like a little tiny dot to me. I don't see any action. For me, the subject of this is this pole coming across because that's the closest thing. So maybe if this was a really high quality image, this person could have zoomed way in and we would have seen some action, but I'm definitely not seeing any action in this shot. All right, I'm seeing some sports action here. I can tell his feet are lifting up off of the ground. The ball is flying through the air. What is the problem with this shot? Oh my goodness, could you get any more clutter in an image? I mean, seriously, even just to shut the door would have been an improvement. I don't want to see everything that's in the closet back there. And it's all sharp. Like, I can tell there's even a shelf up here. I can see shoelaces hanging off the shelf. I can see, look at these just sandwiched in the middle of all this clutter. Don't do that. You need to plan your shots out so that wherever you're standing, you can be at an angle where there isn't a bunch of clutter in the background, okay? All right, now this is better, but look, clutter. Simple cropping in GIMP would have fixed this. Just a simple crop. Just cut that off the page over there, and you could have put him on the thirds line. Bam, that would have been awesome. Sports shot. Yeah, everybody's off the ground and lifted up in the air. It's a little bit blurry, but hey, I'd rather have a shot like this than a shot where there's a whole bunch of clutter in the background. And there is a little bit of clutter happening here in the background. Might have been able to find a more solid background if the person had moved over and maybe just been able to get trees in the background so that when they're jumping there isn't all this. I mean, I think that's the lid, like the top of a car or something laying out there in the background. So you got to be thinking about stuff like that. And then once again, we've got that pole. Could this person have healed out the pole at least? Yeah, they probably could have done a lot of healing back here to get rid of all of this clutter, right? We just learned how to do the healing tool. This would have been a great place to use healing to just get rid of some of that junk. So we have a nice solid background for these characters to contrast against. I wouldn't consider this sports action. Yeah, he's wearing a uniform, but it's kind of more like a portrait of somebody who's about to go play a game. Not really action, not the climax, that's for sure. This is biker action. Yeah, look at that. I can see the dust and the dirt getting spit out. It would have been kind of nice to see the spin on the wheels. That would have been cool if there had been a blur effect with that. Definite sports action. We definitely can see that dirt flying through the air. Perfect. Really nice shot there. We need some cropping action in this picture. More than half of this image is just the court, okay? That's not action, all right? Could this person have possibly cropped this image so that we were close up and we could actually see the action? That would be a nice action shot. All right, so we got some great action, but look what's happened. The person that took this picture wasn't prepared, wasn't ready, didn't have this person jumping in the, at least you'd want to put that person over here on the left third line so that we would have the area that she was jumping into on the right. Instead, she's jumping right off the page. Not good, not good. All right. Timing is everything, people. If this is an action shot, please help me. This is an action, okay? These flags are as docile and not moving as I've ever... She's sitting, she's meditating. She's a Buddha, okay? So if you're going to do it, get the timing right. Get it when the flags are flying through the air. Get the blur of their action. Show us the action. Is this horse action? Well, we've got the problems of cropping. It's kind of got all of that distracting stuff happening in the background for one thing. This would be really powerful if it had a solid background and not all that stuff. You could get into GIMP and you can edit your stuff. But compare this horse action here to this horse action. Wow. What's the difference? Well, this horse has got some solid contrast against it in the background versus two fences, two layers of fences, rows of trees, power lines, houses, you know, and you've got this giant area of foreground here that's got nothing going on in it. Nothing. It's not contributing at all. And this rope, I guess, I mean, I get it. You're wanting to show this is what it looks like from my angle, but if you're going to do that, then you need to crop it real tight. Crop it tight so it's like, you know, tall and skinny, and that lead rope leads off into the third line. That is gorgeous. The horse's face, that face is on the third line. That's right where you want to put it. If you can get it on the intersection, that horse's eye is right at the intersection of the third lines. The back half of it is intersecting a third line. The bottom of the horse, the bottom chest of the horse is just right on the third line. The top is on the third line. This is a beautiful composition. It's perfect. And it's got all of the action right there. You can see the dust and the tail and the hair standing up. It is gorgeous. The time of day. The lighting is exquisite. Time of day and lighting, you know that this is was the sun is starting to set and the hues are warm. It is just gorgeous. Flippin Action. I love this Flippin Action, and I feel like this could be so awesome. But what's in the background? Come on, you guys got to start thinking, how can I make this look professional, ready for a commercial, for example? How can I fix that background? I showed you guys some healing techniques now. You guys know how to select him, all right? And you ought to be able to be fixing your backgrounds now so that they actually are contributing to what's happening with your subject. Water sports action. This is an excellent shot. Perfect. Looks great. Brightness could be increased though. It's a little shady here, and we don't have a lot of pure whites. So I would probably, and if we do brightness on the whole image, it's going to blow out this area back here because that's where the sun is hitting. So you might have to get in there with your selection tool and do a little bit of selecting of where it needs the brightness hit and just leave the background as it is, or you can invert your selection and adjust your background. This is absolutely gorgeous. It is missing pure blacks though. Some brightness and contrast on here is definitely needed because she looks a little more grayish brown than she does have black lagging. So, but it's possible that when you're in a situation like this, when you have the sun coming from behind, you've got to use your flash, okay? Otherwise, maybe that's the reason why the student had such a difficult time with this one, because she may not have used her flash. We've got Poltergeist Action. We've got a student capturing a book flying across a room. And it's a Stephen King book, so it all leads to the context of it. I love this shot, and the shadow behind it is fantastic. We've got liquid action. Sometimes I think that students are really interested in attempting a technique, but sometimes the whole context of the image can get lost. I'm personally not crazy about the fact that there's not a bokeh effect happening. I feel like this is too close to the wall. If it had been done further away with perhaps some soft Christmas lights and you were able to do the liquid and the bokeh technique at the same time, we would be ready to publish this in a magazine. Dad action. This is awesome. I think this is one of the most hilarious action shots I've ever received. Love this shot. Look at that action. Look at that tongue action. That's so hard to capture a dog's tongue like this. If you can do that, that's awesome. This is fan action. And what the student is demonstrating is that they had the fan on and they were able to actually capture it at that split second. But for me, I feel like nobody really knows that except for the students. So make sure when you're doing your action that you're actually capturing the, like, just the tracer motion that you get, the blur motion that you get when something's in motion to indicate that it is in motion. And once again, we have just clutter everywhere. So be focused on the entire context of your image. This is a beautiful action shot. Love it. I do think it needs a little more contrast and probably to intensify the colors. So you've learned about, you know, in chapter 7, you learned about the hue and saturation tool. Under colors, you've got a lot more options now to help you to bring out color and contrast. So this is a fun action shot capturing snow in midair, and not too crazy about the overall composition of it because there isn't really anything happening other than the snow, and it's just this big telephone pole. So I really think if you decide that you want to do something like capturing snow in midair, think about what's happening in the background. Try to pull it all together, okay? I know that this could be a good, I'm practicing my technique shot, but this is not like a full, okay, and I've planned my subject matter and the context and the setting and the lighting and the time of day. That's not pulling all of that together in this shot. This is a great example of action. I absolutely adore this action shot, but you know what I'm going to say. Really? A pile of laundry and hangers in the corner and cords? I mean, This is a perfect example of something that needs to go into GIMP, and you need to select this little girl and you need to give her a totally different background because this is just not working. This is a great action shot. This student was once again focusing on capturing that split second. They had a very fast shutter speed. Slow down your shutter speed just a touch and get a little bit of a blur. Not too much, but sometimes a little blur is nice because it gives us that visual clue that there's action. This is pretty cool example of the juxtaposition between action, movement, that blur I'm talking about, versus something being totally still. Am I crazy about this shot? No, just simply because it's the interior of a car and it's not that interesting and it's gray. I think that definitely you could do something like this and make it work, but think bigger, think deeper. How can I create message? What else? What other things could I pull into the context and use a similar technique? How can I make it more interesting? I definitely think that this is really cool. We've got the wheel spinning and blurring. We've got the blur action of the sidewalk, and they did a nice job of cropping it off. It's really nice. I'd add some more contrast. This is beautiful. It doesn't necessarily have to be representational. I love just kind of the abstract feel of this piece and the pink against the colors blue and red. I think this is a beautiful composition. I could see that hanging on a wall somewhere expensive. This is a fantastic action shot, but man, just think if this had been cropped, or if you just select the bird and put in a totally different background, it could be really cool. Tricks are another genre. So we've done bokeh, we've done sports, we've done action, and now there's tricks. So this panorama trick is really fun. You just start taking your panorama and you have a person who has to run. They pose. And then as you're slowly churning your panorama, this person runs around and gets into another position just in time for you to capture them. And then as you're panning, they run around and they get into their third position. So this is a really fun trick and you could have lots of fun. But once again, let's think about like what's happening in the background. There's nothing really contextually compelling and exciting about this, okay? It's like, ooh, okay, so the student practiced the trick. If I look at this more of a practice picture, okay? Now that you've practiced it and you get the technique, create a story out of it, okay? Because there's not really a story happening here. Make a story up. Figure out how to make it exciting. This is not a trick for me. This is just a panorama. Everybody's camera has a panorama feature. Nothing exciting about this. I'm not like, yay, this guy's cool, but it's somebody's street. There's signs, there's posts, there's poles. Just, yeah. For me, this is just a hodgepodge. It's not exciting to me. It does not feel like a concise whole professional work of art. Okay, and here's another example of the trick. But once again, look at the lighting in this image. It's so dark. There's trash cans. You know, Mrs. Girot doesn't want to see trash cans in the picture. Unless the trash cans are the subject of the picture, all right? If you can get like trash cans doing kung fu with each other in midair, levitating, I think that would be a really funny, hilarious approach to this assignment. Look at your lighting. Make sure that you're in a bright spot, not a trick. This is just a panorama of someone's living room. This is getting closer to a story. So she's fighting herself, and then the third part of herself is like in the corner going, oh my gosh, who's gonna win? So that's really cute. The student actually created a story. Yes, I love it. Okay, this one's kind of cool because this dude is like following himself. It's kind of creepy. It's nighttime. He's got his black hoodie on, and this guy in the front doesn't even know, man. There's just like himself following him, stalking him. It's kind of scary. I love it. This is so cool. He almost got himself, he could have, I think he could have practiced this shot a couple more times and gotten the actual hand as if the two of them were about to shake hands. But what spoils it for me is this shadow of the photographer. That just distracts and breaks the whole thing up. If there were no shadow there, it would really look, and plus, look at the background. There wasn't a lot of thought given to a nice, solid, contrasting background that these guys could be up against. There's like cars here and stuff. You know, think about your background. There's so many things going on in here that are just distracting. Find a nice, solid background to shoot your photography. Here's an underwater trick. These are fun. And a colored water trick. And a splooshing something in a big mud puddle water trick. And another liquid trick. But once again, when you go so close to the wall, for me, I don't like it. I don't want to feel like, oh, it's a glass against somebody's wall. You know, I want to be focused only on that water. And so using that bokeh effect and having a nice soft blurry background and a contrasting background, like a dark background against this beautiful water, I mean, that would be awesome. Haven't seen it done yet in this class. Trick, running water down your finger. This is definitely like demonstrating to me that you get that cotton candy waterfall effect. I get it, but the overall context of the image is just saying, hi, Mrs. Girot, I practiced the cotton candy waterfall effect in my sink. It's not a final product. I need a final product. I need something professional. It's got to have a subject. It's got to have a story. It's got to have a message behind it. This is just the technique. I need more than just the technique, okay? Here's a fun trick, underwater photography. This is a fabulous trick. I am loving this. This is one of my favorite submissions. Loved this. Can't even tell you how much love it. I know you're loving it right now too. You're like, ooh, I can do something like that. This is a fun trick. I don't have a clue what the student did to do this trick, but I love it. It's great. It's a fantastic composition. This one right here is so cool. I love this one. Look at the way that you've got like the background spinning. You know what a really fun trick is? Spin your camera around and hit your shutter and see what happens. But what's amazing about this is that it looks like this has been spinning in the background. It looks like the photographer is spinning, but at the same time, how did the photographer get everything to look like it's spinning, but this is sharp? That's a trick. Cotton Candy Waterfalls is another one, and this could fall. It doesn't have to be a waterfall, but remember that composition is just so important. I love this shot, but I feel like it's just like, I don't know, there's too much going on. Maybe it just needs to be cropped so that all we can see is the waterfall. There's just a little too much extra stuff over here detracting from it. And maybe some more brightness and contrast, and maybe some intensity, maybe increase the saturation of the color. This isn't really too cotton candy-y, is it? No, it's not too cottony. If you're going to do the cotton candy thing, you got to do it right. These are pretty good cotton candy waterfalls. I mean, I can tell it's cotton candy, but the way it's cropped, just really can't see it. It's not like emphasized enough. I would crop off some of this. I might even just zoom in and really crop it and get close to that cotton candy so that it is just hogging my attention. Now that's some cotton candy waterfalls. See what I mean about cropping, what a difference that can make? Of course, it'd be great if this date weren't in there, because that's not very professional, is it? I probably intensify the contrast so that I'm getting a lot crisper, more intense black shadows and bright highlights. That waterfall is not even really white, so that needs to be brightened and added some contrast. Those pure whites in that waterfall pop out. It's not cotton candy. This is a person actually like freeze framing the water, okay? And it's all right, but it's kind of boring. Yes, this is some gorgeous cotton candy. I know that you guys can appreciate that. That is beautiful cotton candy. They did a gorgeous job on that. Now, to capture cotton candy waterfalls, you actually have to wait until it's a little bit dark. So it is dark for that reason. That's why she was able to capture that moment. But so you need to take that into GIMP now, and you need to increase the brightness on that, and maybe even adjust some hue or contrast. Oh, now that is Cotton Candy Waterfalls. Hello, look at that. That is gorgeous. Okay. Hey, same technique here. Gorgeous, 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 but do I really want to see the landscaping in this yard? It's like I look at that for a second, but then there's nothing that I can do to deny the fact that all this other stuff is going on and making it feel less artistic. You really need to crop in, make it artful. Emphasize the technique that you're using. And then we have this levitation trick. I like this levitation trick. I do. I love this. I love it. I think there's a lot going on though with this stuff. It's a little distracting, but it's a trick. And here's another trick. And once again, for me, this is too close to the wall. And if it had some bokeh effect happening in the background, and if we didn't have this white line here, if somehow they could have edited post-production in GIMP and instead of made it feel like she was jumping in front of a wall, maybe look like she was flying through this thing through space, through outer space, right? Orbiting the moon. That would have been cool. This is absolutely one of my favorite levitation submissions that a student has done. He is using the force. He is controlling this ball. This picture would have been so awesome if he hadn't shot it in the shade. It's right in the shade. It's dark. Now, the other side of it is he could have shot it in the shade where he's getting all of this fun lighting and taken it into GIMP and played around with it so that you didn't have this in the background. You didn't have all this fencing in the background. What could he have done? Could he have, like, cropped some of this snow here and then maybe made the background, something Star Warsy in the background? It could have been outer space with like a huge spaceship flying behind him or something. It would have been so cool. You can do that in GIMP. This is really fun. I love this concept. Okay, cool. So I'm getting this perspective. However, look, the little string to the camera is sticking out. Get rid of that. Think about those details. And what am I looking at? It's not that interesting. What if there was something happening at the end of the mailbox? I don't know what, but get creative. And brightness and contrast for sure. Everything's pretty gray in here. Get some pure blacks going in there. And think about the story. Okay, because right now I've got a very cool setting, but I don't have a story. This is really fun. I love that. Not crazy about this bush here. The foreground is just, yeah, I get it. It's normal, but I would have definitely preferred to have seen this picture without this fence and tree. If they could have just taken the pictures like in front of the fence or close enough to the fence that those weren't in the picture, it would have been a lot less distracting. I don't know what you'd call this, but it's good, and you all know why. It's just sometimes things have that je ne sais quoi about them. Yeah, that's French for I don't know what. Je ne sais quoi. Yeah, it's got it. This is a little magnifying class trick. This is kind of fun. And now, you can do tricks in GIMP too. So get in there, start getting creative, and think about how you can take different photos and manipulate them so that they come together and create these interesting abstract images. I love them. This is very cool. So there's tons of tricks in GIMP. You can go to YouTube and just search up tricks in GIMP, and there'll be tons of little video tutorials that show you how to do cool things, okay? And in addition to that, these are the options that we just kind of went over, and I just gave you some examples, and I know that right now you're like, oh my goodness, Mrs. Girot, this is the longest video you've ever made. You're going to go into the digital photo class, into the content, and you're gonna scroll down to where it says Project 3, and inside it has the directions. It says to watch the videos below. You'll be submitting your 2 shots this week, and you're gonna choose 2 options. You're gonna choose 2 options, okay? Now look at all of these awesome videos, okay? You've got iPhone camera apps. Well, this might not be a video. This might just be a list. You've got Android camera apps. You've got a video that'll talk about aperture and how to create the bokeh effect and how to take bokehlicious photos and how to do bokeh if you just have a camera, a pocket camera, and some smartphone bokeh apps. And so if you don't have the camera and you still want to do bokeh, here's some apps. You can look up free apps in your, you know, Google Play or your iTunes store. You can watch this video, how to photograph waterfalls if you're wanting to do Cotton Candy Waterfalls. Here's another one, how to shoot great waterfall pictures. If you're wanting to do action shots, sports shots, here's a nice video. Here's a video, again, on action photography. If you want to do tricks, these are just a couple of examples. Here's 7 smartphone photography tips and tricks. Watch that video. Or 7 simple photography hacks that you don't need a smartphone for. You can do photography hacks with or without a smartphone. And the list goes on. Go to YouTube and just get some ideas. You can type in levitation photography. You can type in anything you want in YouTube. So remember, I told you that one of the goals is self-directed learning for this project, okay? All right, so the last thing I want to do is I just want to open up GIMP, and I want to go File, Open. So remember I was saying, wow, it's so dark and all of that. But in addition, and this is something that you've seen before, I want you to come down to the bottom here and notice that this is only showing 12% of the actual size. So first thing I want you to do is increase that to 100%. Okay? That obviously is too big to fit on a computer monitor, all right? So it needs to be scaled. Here's how to scale. Image, scale image. Remember, the resolution for displaying photographs on a computer screen does not want to be 300. That's for printing on paper. You have to have a high resolution to print on paper. Change that to 72 and hit Tab and change that resolution to 72 by 72. Next, go up here to pixels and change that to inches. We don't need 83 inches. What's 83 divided by 12? That's almost like 8 feet wide, okay, by almost 5 feet. We don't need 8 feet by 5 feet. Doesn't fit on the computer screen, right? So I'm going to change the width to about 10 inches and hit Tab, and that's going to change that to about 6. So let's go ahead and scale it and see if that's the right size. Click Scale. Oh my goodness, it's perfect. Look at that. That's at 100%. That's how it looks on the screen. That's just what I wanted, okay? I'm going to go ahead and save. I had forgotten to save. File, Save As, and I am going to name this with my first and last name. And this is a Cotton Candy Waterfall, so I'm just going to call it CC Water. You can call it whatever you want. Just let me know that it's Cotton Candy Waterfall, okay? And I'm going to hit Enter to save that. Okay, so now I've got the name of my file, Rachel Girot, cottoncandywaterfalls.xcf. That's my GIMP file. So I want to brighten this up, so I'm going to go to Brightness and Contrast and make sure my preview button is selected, and it needs to be brighter, okay? Whenever you brighten it up, remember that's going to also brighten up your low lights, so you're going to have to increase your contrast. Look at what a huge difference that made. That is so lovely. All right, do you think that this tree trunk right here is doing any service to this image? I don't. I'm going to try a little bit of cropping. I'm going to hit Save and use this little cropper tool, the X-Acto knife, and I'll just draw a little image around here. Okay, so I'm thinking about how can I just totally intensify the effect of the cotton candy waterfall. All I want to see is my cotton candy. I think that's gorgeous. You know, it's all up to you. So I'm just going to click inside and I'm going with that. So now that I've done that though, look at 100%, it's kind of small. So I go back and I think, ooh, I probably should have sized it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go Control Z. And this is what's awesome, Control Z, Control Z. I'm right back where I started from. How about if I go into my scale image, and this time I'm gonna change that to 72. Sometimes you're not gonna know. You're not gonna know until you size it and you go in and you play around with it and you go, oh, I made a mistake. Okay, I'm gonna change that to inches again, and this time I'll do 20 and see how that is, okay? Now it's still a little too big and I can't see everything, so I'm going to decrease it to about 50% right now just so that I can crop it, okay? So I'm going to hit save because I have to free up my RAM to make this video and crop. It's got my crop tool selected already. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to see if I can try to get that composition that I was looking for before. I really liked that. I liked getting the top edge of those, and I'm liking the fact that the action here is happening on a third slide. So I'm going to bring that a little bit. Perfect. Okay. That's where I'm cropping it. Now if I move it to 100%, boom, it's actually a little bit too big. I can go view, zoom, fit image, and window, and I can see the whole thing. I'm going back to my colors, my brightness and contrast, and I'm going to bring up my light brightness and bring up my contrast. And that is absolutely gorgeous. Do you want to try and play around with the color balance? This is where, remember, you can play around with the channels. So remember, the three main colors are red, green, blue, and their secondary colors are that color with the absence of red. So cyan is the absence of red, magenta is the absence of green, and yellow is the absence of blue. So do you want to intensify your yellows? Ooh, no. So you can kind of play around with that and see what happens when you fool around with the channels. I'm going to go ahead and cancel. But if you are going for an interesting effect and it fits into the context of what you're doing, you certainly can do that. There's also the hue and saturation tool. You can saturate. We learned how to saturate and take away color, but you can also saturate to intensify color, which is really pretty. Let's say that all I want to intensify, I'm going to just bring that back to 0. Let's say I just want to intensify the yellow in the flower. So that's what this is all about. So let me go ahead and I got to click save because my RAM's eating up. Try this again. Okay, so I'm going to hit my yellow. Perfect. And I'm just going to focus on saturating the yellow in there. Did you see that? It might not be very obvious. I'll hit OK. And let's hit Control Z just to undo the yellow. And Control Y to redo it. I'm not sure. It was very subtle. I didn't really notice it. So I'm good with that. Here is how you save. File. We already saved it once. Click save one last time because you need to save all your changes. Okay, and then you're going to say File, Export As. This is where you get your JPEG. Export As, and mine already says JPEG because I've been working in here for a while. If it says PNG, just change that ping to a JPEG by going backspace, 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 and type JPG. Make sure the dot's there. Or you can go down here to select File by type and scroll down alphabetically to JPEG, and it will automatically update your file extension. Remember to slide that over and click Export, and your image optimization box comes up. Click Show Preview. Oh, look it. Remember I told you I want it less than or equal to 500 kilobytes? I'm at 97%, and I'm showing I'm a little over 500, so I'm going to go down to 96%. Oh, I'm still too high. All right, I had to bring it down to 95%. But the reason why I had my image right here showing is because I wanted to make sure I wasn't losing the visual quality of my image. Look what happens when I bring my image down here. Do you see how it's breaking up and getting very pixelated? That's because as I decrease the quality, there are fewer and fewer pixels in the image, and this is what that looks like. So the whole point of optimization is to make it as large as possible, but within the requirement. So the size requirement is less than or equal to 500. So if I hit 96%, it looks like I'm there. Click export. Perfect. So that's a great example of getting your cotton candy waterfall so that you got that great shot, but now it really is the emphasis. It really is the subject of your photo, and it's bright and cheerful. I'm going to try another one. So I'm going to go File, Open. And I opened up this lovely action shot. We saw this as well. It was a very cool shot, okay? It's a little large. Once again, we're at 12.5%, so I'm going to bring this up to 100, and you can see, yeah, that's way too big. Oh, look at that power line right there. So I'm going to Image, Scale Image, and it's already at 72. That's awesome. I'm going to set this on inches so I can visualize how big that is. It's way too big. So I'm going to go for the height of 10 inches, hit Tab, and it'll automatically adjust the width for me, and I'm going to scale that. Okay, so there we have it, scaled much better. I can work with that. File, Save As, save it with your first and last name, and Action. Perfect. Rachel Girot Action, or whatever your name is, Action. Click Save. Okay, and so I've been kind of talking to you about how awesome this would be if it had a different background. So remember how we used that lasso tool last time? I'm going to do that. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to lasso this character. Here I go. And I am just going to draw all the way around him. Oh, you know what I can do? Hold the boat. Let me show you this. So hit escape. There's an escape key in the top left corner. I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out. I'm going to go at 50%. Watch this. This is cool. I forgot. You can use this magic wand whenever you have solid colors, right? Threshold at 15. Let's see how this works. So I'm just going to click in the background of all that blue. Ooh, it did a really nice job of getting that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see a little better. And grab that wand again, and maybe I'll increase my threshold and hold down Shift to add. Shift adds. Look at how nicely that's going around the legs for me. Oh, it does not want to get that power line. I'm going to grab the trees. Nope, if I grab the trees, it gets the shorts too, so Control Z. All right, let's see if I can Shift add the fence. I can. Woohoo! So look at, it's going all the way around the body for me. I hardly had to do anything. I just have to go in there now with my lasso tool. I'm going to zoom in so I can see what I'm doing. Whoops. I'm not sure what I just did there, but I meant to grab the zoom. Hit escape if you mess up. Escape. Okay, so I'm going to File, Save, because I just have to free up RAM, otherwise things don't work. So I zoom in a little bit and grab that lasso tool, hit Shift. I want to add this cord or this power line. Okay, I'm adding it because what I'm doing is I'm selecting all of this stuff. Come on now. Oh, it's not liking me right there. I'm going to hit escape. Try that one again. Holding down Shift and drawing a circle around all of this until I come to the start point. There it goes. Liked it that time. Okay, holding down Shift, gonna go around his arm and around all these trees and everything. Oh, and I've got to get the bottom of his foot. There's a few other things over here too. Okay, so look at that. Holding down Shift, add this little part here. Add this little part here. So this is going to be really fun. So keep on going. Just drawing circles around everything that I need to add. It's gone all the way around his whole face and hat for me. And I accidentally grabbed a guide. Oh boy, now I grabbed the whole picture. Hit Control Z. Make sure that it's got the right tool. This is one of the things that drives me crazy about this program, is that happens sometimes. Hold down Shift. Just don't get frustrated. Just remember that whatever you're doing, you can always hit Control Z. Okay, and I got a couple things in there. I'm all the way at the bottom, so I think I got it all. Maybe this corner I need to get. Okay, that's everything. Now I just need to get a little more precise. Remember, you want to zoom in, okay, and you want to get precise. Don't be lazy about that, because otherwise it's not going to look right. All right, so grab your little tool there, hold down Shift, and add anything that you need to add. Get right up close. Nice. Get right up to the edge of that foot there. Okay, that's going to make all the difference. You got all these little spots here that for some reason didn't get selected when you did your sky. And hold down Control if there's parts of the leg that you need out of the selection. Okay, so how's that looking? It's pretty good. I think I can get a little closer to the toe here. All right. What else? What else? What else? Oops, there's some spots in here. Okay, other than that, it looks awesome. Okay, how'd I do on the fence part here? I think I might have missed a couple pixels there. Oh, and look at along the arm. I didn't do a very good job there either. That's so important to get zoomed in and make sure that you're getting... Oh, look at that little spot in there. I would have never gotten if I hadn't zoomed in. Okay, perfect. File save. I'm zooming back out now by holding down, I think, Control. Yep. Control will take me back out. Okay, so the whole area, the marching ants are going around the sky and the fence and everything. And you know what I'm going to do to it? I'm going to delete it. I just hit delete. That's all I did. I hit delete. Okay, so now I can go to the internet. Okay, and let's find something fun. So when you are using people's photographs, you have to go to creativecommons.org, creativecommons.org, or you can take your own photograph for the background, whatever you want to do. You do need to at least have the subject or whatever be your photograph, but you can complement it with something that you find on the Commons. Okay, so let's see here. I am going to search up, where should he be doing his flip at? I think I'm just going to type in aerial view. So aerial view, and then how you find the images that you can use without getting in trouble is just you want to make sure that you don't have to have it for commercial purposes, but you want to be able to modify, adapt, or build upon the image. And you'll go over here to where it says Google Images, and you'll click there. And it will give you free public domain aerial view images that you can use. So I'm just going to find one that I think would be fun to see this person flipping out in front of. And oh, this is kind of fun because there's this great big swimming pool underneath. So, and it's actually a nice big file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my snipping tool. You guys have a snipping tool on your computer. You just type in snipping and pull it up. And then you say new. And I am just going to go ahead and, let's see, grab a hold of some of this image, not all of it. Okay, I'm going to go copy. And now I'm going to come over to that layer that I had. Well, let's see. Let's do edit, paste as new layer. Okay, I'm going to hide this other one and lock it away. So here is my image now, and I'm at 341%, so I'm going to 100. Okay, so I can I have the zoom tool. It's driving me crazy. Get off the zoom tool. Because every time I click, it just zooms it in. So going back to 100%. And I want to actually size this. So just move your cursor over and you can see which one's the scale tool. So this is the scale tool. And when I click on this image, oh, that's what I could have done to the other one. I could have scaled it using the scale tool. Okay, but I didn't. So I'm scaling it now. And I think I need to actually bring this out to 50% so I can see the whole thing. There we go. Okay, and I'm scaling it right now. And I'm going to move it a little bit too. So grab that move tool and I'm going to grab the image and move it over. Okay, so that it's just right. I might have to scale it a little bit more because I don't think it's quite covering the whole page. So yeah, I got to lift that up a little. There we go, and scale that. Now it's fitting the whole page. That's good. I could actually crop it. So let's grab the crop tool and I'll just come along like this. And then that crops the edges off. Okay, and I'm going to go View, Zoom, Fit Image in Window. So I'm seeing the whole thing. And now I'm going to bring him into it. Oh, the problem that I'm having with him is the fact that he is not on an alpha channel. So we're going to right click on this and we're going to say Add Alpha Channel. And now hopefully when I grab my fuzzy select tool and I select everything in the background, which it did so easily. All I had to do was click on it one time and it selected everything, hit delete now, boom. Okay, so that was what I was missing. I just had to get an alpha channel. An alpha channel just makes it so that it's transparent when you delete instead of having that white background that it had. So now that I've done that, I can go ahead and go select none and I can get my move tool, and as long as I'm in his layer and unlock it, I can move him wherever I want. And I could rotate him if I wanted to some more. So let's see here. Where's the rotate? It's right here. Click on rotate, and when you click that, I like to use a slider. So maybe I'll rotate him a little bit. Whee! How fun. Oh, you could like copy him. If you wanted to, you can duplicate layers. You can go duplicate layer, and now I have two of him. So let me go in this layer and grab my move tool, and you'll see I can move, and I have another one. So I could actually rotate that one and make this one at a different angle. Click rotate. And this one right here, I can rotate. Oops, got the same one because I'm in the same layer. That's right. Cancel. You got to get in the right layer. I'm going to lock that layer. Grab him and rotate him around a little bit. Rotate. Okay, and then I'm also going to make him a little, whoops, cancel that, rotate. I'm also going to make him a little bit smaller, so I'm also going to scale him down a little. So click on that, and let's see. I'm just going to start decreasing. Oh, you know what's going on? Look at this. Control, I'm going to cancel that. And I'll show you why in just a second, because I'm going to do this again. I'm going to grab the scale tool and click on him. And this is not locked. Remember, I've talked about that. You've got to make sure that that's locked. So as I'm scaling the width, it's automatically scaling the height at the same time. So that should be making him a little bit smaller. Click scale. Okay, and now I can move him. Grab your move tool. And look at that. So it's kind of like I could do another one and have him really small, like he's flying, you know, getting even closer to the pool. But kind of like that, I might might grab him and have him coming out of the corner. Now, one of the things that strikes me right away, and this is one of the things that drives me crazy when students do this kind of stuff, is did you notice that he looks really jaggedy on the edges? So if I zoom in, look at that, doesn't look good at all. So what I want to do is I want to grab that smudging tool that we've used before, smudge a little bit, make sure you have a brush. That was my problem last time. The opacity, let's see how this works right now. I might have to increase my opacity so it's not taking me forever. And I just have to softly go over these edges. Isn't that nice? It doesn't look so jaggedy anymore. That is so nice. Just have to be careful. Oh, look at, I don't know why that's not transparent right there. For some reason that in there didn't get deleted. Oh well. Oops, that's just a guide. Oops, and now my move tool. If you accidentally ever grab a guide, it'll give you your move tool, so get your smudge tool back. That just looks so fun. Okay, now I'm going to work on the other one. Remember, he's in a different layer. Lock the one that you're not working on. Grab that smudge tool and go around and just, oops, wrong layer. Smooth him out. If something's not working, check to see, do you have a brush? Are you in the right layer? Do you have the right tool selected? Because sometimes it just changes things up on you and you didn't even expect it. Okay, so that looks awesome. Back of his legs looking terrible. Whoa, there we go. Fix that. Okay. All right, it's too bad that little area in there didn't get selected, but I can certainly go in and get it. All right, I just have to grab my little fuzzy tool and click here on the white, and didn't quite grab enough, so I'm going to grab the lasso tool and hold down shift and select a little bit more of that area, and hold down control to deselect the places where I got too much. Okay, and what do? I just hit delete. Oh, perfect. Now I can see the pool through there, and I can do it on this other, but I have to unlock him. I can lock that one and make sure I'm working in that layer. And I can just go in here and I can just draw around the area and hit delete, and boom, perfect. Select none, zoom. Oh, look at, I need my smudge tool. I'm gonna smudge it a little bit and just make it look a little smoother. Yeah, if you zoom in, you'll notice a lot more of those imperfections. Yep. Okay. Smooth that out just a touch. Oops, I'm in the wrong layer and it's locked. So if you're not seeing any changes, remember to ask yourself those important questions. Do I have the layer that I'm in the right layer? Is it unlocked? Do I have the right tool? Do I have a brush? Hold down control and zoom back out. All right, boom. So that is in a nutshell how you can do some really fun tricks in GIMP. So for this one right here, you would just click save to save all your changes, and file, export as, make sure it says JPEG, move that over, click export, move your box over, you can still see your image, show preview, and bring that quality up so that it's as high as it can get. I can't get up to 500, that's okay. It's the right size, it's the way I wanted it, I can still see it, it's perfect. So that, my friends, is what I mean by doing tricks and doing some post editing in GIMP. Keep your layers, keep all of your work so I can see it, and what you're going to do is you'll submit this. So come on up here to the Dropbox, and there will be an upload button right here. Click on upload, and when you do that, you are going to submit to me both of your tricks. For example, I did waterfall and action, so I will submit my JPEG, hold down control, my GIMP file of my action shot, so both of those, and I will submit my JPEG waterfall and I will submit my GIMP waterfall. I can hold down Control and select all 4 of those files, and then you will just upload those. And then after you upload, you have to also click Submit. Remember, you have to click Submit after you upload the files. So that is how you're going to do that project. I know that this was very long-winded, but I want to make sure that you do it correctly. So hopefully you've watched this entire video and followed all of the directions. Thank you.